So Gordon, why does planning matter in business?
A number of reasons. First of all, planning turns ideas into reality. So time and time again, with the organisations we work with, and we see stories from chief execs of businesses or team leaders where lots of ideas have been coming out, but actually they haven't realised themselves because of ineffective planning. So it really helps turn ideas into reality. The other absolute key thing with planning is that it creates accountability and clarity. High performance teams and high performance organisations have clear accountability for delivery and clarity about who's meant to do what. Effective planning delivers all that to interested parties and across the organisation. The third point, and probably the most important, is irrespective of whether we're talking on an organisational team or individual level, those people or bodies that are effective at planning deliver better results. We see that time and time again.
And why doesn't it happen?
Well, when we ask executives what the value is planning, they all know the answer. They all come immediately up with the ideas why planning is effective, and they all should excel at it. So why doesn't it? It's the three main reasons. One is time, because planning, like anything that involves quality thinking, requires time, and time is at a premium these days. So creating that time is something that sometimes doesn't happen. The other areas that leads to people not planning is about knowledge. How do you plan? Okay, actually, if I would ask 10 different executives how to plan, they'd all come up with slightly different ways. I'm not saying any that are right or wrong. There are different approaches, but having a systematic way of planning is going to allow you to become effective in planning and really enhance the power of planning. And the third area, again, which particularly in these times where there's a lot of change taking place there, relates to the fear of accountability. So if effective planning creates accountability and clarity, then one good reason to avoid it is if you're concerned about having that sort of accountability yourself. So if I'm worried about doing something and being held accountable, maybe I'm not going to plan for it, because if I plan for it, that's going to show that I'm responsible for something that's important. If it doesn't deliver, who knows what the consequence might be. So there's a bit of a fear factor sometimes. Easier to keep it loose and woolly and not do the planning. A real shame that.
And what are the key things to remember when planning?
Okay, bunch of stuff, really simple. And again, we all know how to do it. Firstly, create the time to do it. We know we're busy. Most executives, irrespective of the level in which they're operating an organisation, have very, very little time. So create the time and recognise and accept that we've got to create that time. The second thing is to invite the right people. Quite often we might find boards of businesses getting together. They're not necessarily the right people who need to be involved with the planning. We need to know who's responsible, who's going to be accountable, who needs to be consulted. So get the right people there at the planning. And the final point I'd say is building a review process. So the planning, whether it takes us from tomorrow to next week or tomorrow to next year, we need to have a consistent and effective review process in place to make sure we're getting there along the way. And we deliver what counts, because that's the way we do things around here. So I'll be back and I'll see you soon.